Well, I'm going to use some of the corn stalks from last year. See if I can put supports for the tomatoes. They're wet because it's rained, so I don't know if it would be better to wait until they've dried out again. But then the ground would be dry as well. I'm also going to use the tiki torch. Tiki torch things. Probably going to have to buy some. Probably going to have to buy some real tomato plant pots. But we'll see what we can get by with materials on hand. Should work. Quite a bit of rain over the last 24 hours, and the water barrel has worked pretty well. So I'll show you that in a minute. But I'm going to get this done first. Here, that too. Try this way. Well, as you can see, the tomatoes are growing up very nicely. We're getting some buds, which means tomatoes will be coming on pretty soon. I read recently in the paper that locally there is a place that leases out garden plots, small garden plots for people that like to grow their own vegetables. And it was very popular because a lot of people wanted to grow vegetables in their backyard. They were unable to do so because of zoning restrictions. What? That's fungus. part of the... What is that? That must be part of the... There's a bunch of little white hairy stuff on these. I don't remember that from last year, but it's on all of them. Yeah, that must just be part of the tomato plant. These are Roma tomatoes. Growing Roma tomatoes because I make a lot of soybean soup. And in the soybean soup, I put Roma tomatoes and onions and carrots and mushrooms. But I'm not growing any mushrooms. I will just have to continue to buy mushrooms. But the Roma tomatoes and the onions are doing pretty good, I guess, maybe. Maybe not. I didn't have very much luck with the onions last year either. But I got some there. Because a lot of these look like they have died. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I didn't expect those to do real well. It's out of space. 7. Thought I had planted some over here too. I don't see any. The onions aren't doing so great. And neither are the carrots. I planted carrots right here, and there's nothing coming up. I planted carrots right here. There's one. They're doing a little bit over there, but not very much. Not very much at all. Well, anyway, the paper said that people wanted to grow their own vegetables in their backyard, but they weren't able to because of zoning restrictions. Well, I did not check the zoning restrictions when I planted this. I don't know if it's prohibited or not. But if it were, such a restriction would be unconstitutional. One of the first 10 amendments, I think maybe it's the 4th one, I'm not sure. Ensures the right from unreasonable search and seizure of one's own property, which of course would have to include land, although it's not limited to land. Property is person and property. Did I say that? This is a tiki torch. And I've used up all of the corn stalks. So, going to have to buy something else to support the tomatoes. There's a little tomato growing. All right. Got it. One tomato. There's a bunch of little tomatoes. I don't think there's any little tomatoes on these over here. No. That's interesting. These over here are doing much better than those over there. Part of the reason may be that this section right here, I got some, it was wood chips that had been used as bedding in a chicken coop. So they had all wood chips covered with chicken poo. I asked for straw on Craigslist, but no one had any, but some used it. Hey, there's a carrot. I planted the carrots in this room, not in there. That's why there's no carrots coming up over there, because they planted there. But I planted some here, and there's 1, 2 coming up. It's all. But anyway, I met a man with chicken poo covered wood chips, and I put them in that section. So that may be the reason that is doing better than this over here. Maybe. So anyway, if you heard the dog barking, she is up on the wood pile. Let's see if you can see the wood pile. What are you doing up there? What are you doing up there? Are you getting them? She's looking for lizards and mice and whatever else might live in this wood pile. Yep. Yep. So anyway, to finish the story about the chicken poo covered wood chips, I put them in that section over there where the tomatoes are, that have the tomatoes and that are growing the best. There's only 2 bags worth and didn't have enough for everywhere. So this is the garden. As you can see, the romaine lettuce is doing well. These right here are the cucumbers. They are doing well. And over here is the acorn squash, which is right here at this end, and more romaine lettuce and more tomatoes. So anyway, zoning restrictions. If this would be restricted against growing this plot of vegetables in my backyard, would be an example of unreasonable seizure. For not allowing to use my property for that way would be in effect a type of seizure of the property, prohibiting it. And so if there are any zoning restrictions against it, they are unconstitutional. And therefore, as they are unconstitutional, they do not need to be followed. So here is the water barrel. Now, this is a big water barrel. It holds somewhere between 250 and 300 gallons. As you can see from the last time, I have added another collection source. This tube is glued up there with Gorilla Glue on the valley of the roof. Most of the water in this area runs to that valley and then runs off there and does not make it into the gutter. So I hooked up this tube to catch that water. And as you can see, as you can see, It's collected more water than ever before. It's all the way up to right here. And this, I believe, are gallon marks. It's the first time I noticed these. That's 125, this is 150. So we're up to 100, and this says 500. That must be liter marks. Yes, there it says gal, period. Gal, period, means either female or gallon. And since there's not 300 women in there, I would guess it means gallon. And that says LTR, liter. 1100 liter, 1200 liter, 300 gallon. So when this is completely full, it's probably about 325 gallons. Right now we're half full at 150. That's the fullest it's ever been. So that tube must be collecting a lot of water. This is a spinach that is starting to flower that I planted last fall. And the spinach is right there. That's my pointer. It grew all through the winter when it got down below freezing, and didn't freeze out. And now it's still growing in the heat of the summer. Well, sort of. Anyway, so that's the garden, the point where it stands now. Have a nice day.